Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Bloodborne, kind of. It's complicated. So I'm here today with my best friend in the entire world, Kirstie Ellison. Say hello, Kirstie.
Hi.
Good work. 10 out of 10. So, we're going to do something called a Bloodborne podcast. You'll never guess what it's about. It's about Bloodborne and we're going to talk. Basically, both of us completed the game fairly recently. She beat me to it because she's a streamer, not a YouTuber, so... You know, she just busted it out in like 3 days or something, so... I think she finished it a while ago. I don't even know if she can remember anymore. But, the point is, both of us really kind of wanted to discuss parts of the story and stuff as we were going along, and she didn't want to spoil it for me, and I didn't want to spoil shit for her. So I was like, you know what, when I finish the game, why don't we just do a podcast, and then we can just discuss, you know, our thoughts on the games, like the storyline, and our favorite and least favorite bosses and whatnot, and just that type of thing. So that's what we're going to do today. I don't know how long this is going to be. It might be 20 minutes, it might be 2 hours. I somehow doubt it's going to be that long, but who knows? Okay, so I've written down a few questions here just so we actually have some points of interest to talk about. So I'm going to ask you them, and then if you want, I guess I'll answer them afterwards as well, because it would be a bit weird, otherwise it's just kind of an interview. Okay, so, when you were playing the game, before you watched any lore videos and discussed the lore with other people, because I know you probably did all of that, because I know what you're like. Exactly. By the time you finished the game, what did you think was going on with the story?
Honestly, that's so complicated. Just because of the fact, like, throughout the game, it twists you around every so often. I mean, one point you think that, you know, the church is bad. Another point you think, okay, well, there's a healing church. Is this the same church? And it's so complicated.
Sounds like you paid more attention than I did. I didn't realize there were two churches, and I just thought they were bad.
Yeah, I mean, the healing church is a part of the same church, but you don't know that, you know, as you're playing along, because you're just hearing what everybody has to say. Like, you're in the Odin Chapel, and you're like, okay, well, is this a separate church? Is this, you know, a part of the church? And, you know, you have the big, like, cathedral where you fight, Amelia.
See, I didn't think that deeply about anything. It didn't even occur to me that I was going to different chapels and shit. I was just like, hey, this is somewhere new, and NPCs can be here, and there's a boss over here. That was about as deep as I really thought about it. So, again, like, before you knew any extra stuff from, like, lore and whatever, just what, like, by the time you finished the game, what was your thoughts on what just happened to you, basically? Before anyone explained it, because I imagine Reaper probably did.
Yeah, I mean, originally I thought, like, as it was getting closer to the end of the game, I originally thought that I was basically like an experiment, by, Yusefka. Because you start off in her clinic, and, you know, they ask you about, you know, a contract, and, they do, you know, the whole blood thing. So this whole time I thought that I was, you know, just an experiment, that I'm just one of those people that can survive like a blood transfusion with like the special blood, whatever it was. And yeah, that was my mission, to just figure out what was going on and to search for the pale blood like everybody was telling me to do. So yeah, just an experiment. That's literally all I can think of. Just that I'm an experiment on like a blind mission.
Okay. Now that you put it that way, at first I was like, an experiment, but that's actually kind of clever, because, I mean, you know, I should probably point out, there's going to be spoilers about everything related to Bloodborne in this. I know most of you know that, but there's probably going to be someone being like, holy shit, you're spoiling the game. That's kind of the point. We're talking about the entire game, so, you don't want spoilers, don't be watching. By the way, if you hear cats in the background, it's because she's got a brand new kitten. It's adorable, but it's also incredibly fucking loud, and sometimes it claws her, so if you hear her scream out in tremendous pain, that's why. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, you go to Yusefka's clinic, well, you can, eventually, through, you know, the back entrance and whatnots, and good god, that back entrance, the cave full of demons and bugs and shit, I was not expecting that. I thought I was just gonna walk into a clinic. Walk into, like, a death trap. Anyway, so yeah, when you go in there, there's like the little blue double-D-double-die alien dude, and he, I would imagine, is an experiment. He even drops a vial of her blood. So yeah, it's very interesting indeed. It's almost as if he was either created from her blood, or that she was giving him her blood. I think, personally, she gave him her blood to try and cure him. Because when you're talking to her and she's on the table, like, convulsing and shit, she talks about her blood being special and that she... I think, basically, she's inferring that she didn't transform into a beast or something, so she thinks she's, like, the chosen one. For example, kind of like Will Smith in, What's the name of that movie? I can't remember. It's like The Last Man on Earth, but what did they call it?
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend, yes. Kind of like Will Smith in I Am Legend. Basically, she's Will Smith, so she's using her pollutable blood to try and cure this dude, I think. Like he was doing on the rats. That's the way I thought of it. So, yeah, anyway. So what you're saying about experiment, it makes sense, because you do wake up on the table, and there's that weird dude, the hobo in the chair, who gives you the blood transfusion and everything else. So, yeah, it does make sense to me. I mean, personally, when I finished the game, I didn't think too much about my character, I was trying to think more about the overall story. So, basically what I concluded is, Church is evil, Church is causing the beasts, and some people don't turn into beasts whereas others do. If you don't turn into a beast, you become a hunter of beasts. Pretty much. That was about as far as I got, really. Before the ending. The ending's a little more complicated.
Yeah. I mean, you got the general gist of it. I mean, that's pretty much what I got out of it, too. And then, once you read a little bit more, you find out, like, what we assume is the truth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, speaking of the ending, first off, which ending did you get? I assume you got the Squid one.
Yes.
Because of Reaper. Reaper's a friend of ours who was playing with her, by the way.
Yeah, I'm the new, I guess, moon presence.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very interesting ending. It was very unexpected, but I'm happy with it. I wouldn't have chosen any other ending. That personal opinion, that's the way I would want to go if it was actually me.
Yeah. At the time of recording this, the last part of my playthrough hasn't gone up yet, but it's going up tomorrow. So, I'm trying to remember exactly what I said when I saw the squid. Because I think I said something like, is that a squid? And then she was like, oh, are you cold, good hunter? And I was like, wait a minute, is that me? And I was like, or is it German? Or is it a different hunter? Because, I mean, they're all hunters, right? So, I'm pretty damn sure, in fact, I know it was supposed to be us. Because you get a achievement, like a trophy on the PlayStation, and it says, like, you became an infant great one. So, apparently Squid Buddy was me. And I still don't quite understand that, but, sure. So, what was your thoughts on it before you had it explained to you? What did you make of the squid? Like, your instant reaction to the squid?
Well, I honestly, I think I understood it completely because of the fact that, in order to get that ending, like, to fight the moon presence and, to become the squid, you, have to consume the umbilical cords.
Yes.
And the description tells you that they have insight that, Mergo's, like, it's the description is super long and really complicated, but basically they tell you that you're consuming insight, that they're full of insight. So, I mean, when you think about, like, Rom and how the same thing happened to Rom had a bunch of insight and became a great one or an old one. The same thing happened to me because I consumed it and I defeated a great one.
So do you think Rom was eating umbilical cords?
I don't think she was eating umbilical cords. I just think that with all of her, like, studying in Bergenworth, she found a way to get all of that knowledge.
Okay.
Somehow.
Here might be the most important question about Bloodborne. Why does Rom not look like a spider when it's called Rom the Vacuous Spider? That bothered the fuck out of me. I was like, it looks like a weird tick thing.
It looks like a
weird
spider.
What spiders do you have in America? Like, what the hell?
I think it looks like not necessarily like a spider that we've all seen, but it has a spider has many eyes.
Yeah, they have 8.
Yeah, but that's the point of it, that she has many eyes.
Well, by that logic, the brain dudes are also spiders. That don't really add up. Like, oh, it's got lots of eyes, it must be a spider.
Well, she's a spider. Just leave it alone. That's what they named her. They're probably gonna come out
Probably a
later
mistranslation or some shit.
Exactly, that's a mistranslation.
I think I called it Rom the Vacuous Vagina when I was talking about it because I was pissed off from the fight still. Okay, so we talked about the ending. Okay, here's a good one. What do you actually think a great one is?
Ooh.
I know. It's like, what's the
That's
meaning
a
of
really
life?
good question. I mean, it could mean a lot of things. I don't necessarily mean that they're like gods, kind of, you know, like from Dark Souls 1. I think it's more they're just people who've exceeded a plane, that they're not human, but they are not gods. They can die, but like for example, Odin is a great one, and he doesn't have a body.
Yeah.
And you know, the Moon Presence and Ebrietis, they all have bodies, but they can all be killed. They all have knowledge. That's what I think. I don't think that they're gods. They're just beings that exceed a higher plane. They're better than we are, basically.
Okay. So, what I just assume a great one is, I went kind of more down the godhood route. I kind of just thought that they were gods, but also I know that there are people or enemies, people, whatever you want to call them, in the game that ascended to become great ones. So they were clearly human at some point, like Rom, for example. So the way I'm thinking of it is that there are great ones that are gods, like the Erden or whatever, perhaps, though he could have ascended, we don't really know, because there's not much lore on Erden as far as I can tell. But I also thought of it that people like Rom aren't gods, but they have ascended to godhood. If you want to think of it that way, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't really know. It's like, for all of the lore on the Great Ones, I'm still confused as fuck what they actually are, and I think that was their intention, but...
Well, the point was that the Great Ones have pale blood, meaning their blood is different than ours. That's why they were saying to fear the pale blood, because the Great Ones are the ones who have it within them. And the Healing Church and the church itself was messing with that and, you know, giving it to people, and it was causing a lot of problems because it's something that is beyond our means. It's way beyond our knowledge, our everything. And once you start messing with it, this is something that you can't control. So just don't mess with it in general is what everybody wanted to do, and people just said, you know, fuck it, and just started messing with it anyway.
See, that's another thing, like, I'll be honest with you, the entire time I couldn't figure out what the hell pale blood was supposed to be. And I even watched the lore video, I think it was by a dude called Dave Control or something like that. I'm sure most of you, like, if you type in, like, Bloodborne lore, I think his is the first video that comes up. So that guy, probably, statistically speaking. So anyway, I watched that video, and he seemed to think that pale blood is Mergo's blood, the baby. He had some kind of logic for that, but I don't really know. But I mean, I guess it would make sense, because, okay, speaking of the baby, before you get there, that chick outside in the, like, the wedding dress or whatever she's wearing with, like, the blood all over her stomach, that is clearly his mother. Like, don't take a genius to figure that out.
Well, I think the case is that it's the same as what the, like, umbilical cords tell you, that the moon presence seeks a surrogate. So basically, in the night of the blood moon, just impregnates a lot of people, and that's supposed to be the Thumerian queen.
The chick in the wedding dress?
Yes, she's the Thumerian queen, and yeah, I'm just assuming that the same thing happened to her, that because she's also special, just like, you know, the others who were special, like Yusefka, because obviously Yusefka was pregnant, and you know, our whore, she was also pregnant.
Oh boy, was she pregnant, yeah.
Yeah, she was.
Clean that right up for her.
The only people who can get pregnant they're special. So I'm assuming that was the case for her, and they, unless she sacrificed her baby, like she did it willingly, but the thing is her hands are bound and she looks like she was kind of kidnapped, so I don't know.
Notice her hands, actually.
Yeah, she's bound. She has her hands like in front of her.
Yeah, I know.
And
I thought she
they
was just
have,
like praying or some shit.
yeah, no, she has like the old school shackles on her.
Okay.
I spent a while looking at her because I was debating whether to kill her or not.
Yeah, I nearly did, and I was like, probably shouldn't do that until I see, like, why she's crying in a direction. I think I said she was laughing in the video, but I knew she was crying. I don't know why laughing came from my mouth. Clearly she wasn't laughing. This like, she had blood all over her stomach. She was clearly upset, you know? But I think I said she was laughing. But yeah, I mean, again, you've got the baby in the cuts, you've got the whole blood on her stomach thing, which looks like an abortion or like, cesarean, whatever you want to call it. Pretty nasty abortion if that's how it went, but anyway. So, that and the fact that she's literally looking in the direction of the baby, Mergo, if that even is the baby. Some people are debating if that even is the baby. I don't know why. It seems pretty clear to me. It's Mergo's wet nurse, and there's a freaking cot, you know? But there you go. So anyway, she's looking in that direction, crying, with blood all over her stomach, as if the baby has been, like, ripped from her or something.
Right.
So yeah, that dude seems to think the paleblood is referring specifically to the baby. I don't know. Also, there didn't even seem to be a baby. Am I the only one that seemed to notice that?
Honestly, I don't think that there ever was a baby. I mean, I know that you hear like a lot of crying throughout the game, but you can hear it early on.
Yeah.
And I think that it might just be that it's kind of like the moon presence and like the vast knowledge that you're like the insight that you're, you know, taking in, and the more you're learning about like the moon presence is seeking to have a child because it lost it. So Mergo really never existed.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it. Or, you know, Mergo is like Odin, that it just doesn't have a body, maybe, and you just hear its cries.
Yeah, that would make sense as well. Maybe Mergo is Odin, whatever it's called. I still don't know how to actually pronounce that name, because the chick in the chapel, the dude in the chapel in the red robe, I swear to God, has a freaking woman's voice, but apparently it's a male voice actor. I looked it up and everything. I swear, he sounds like a woman. He sounds like an elderly British woman. Anyway, so him or her, whichever gender it is, I'm not one to judge. He or she was, you know, because of the accent, he or she pronounced things weird. So she called it like the Erden Church, but I think it's probably said differently to that. That was my assumption. She spoke kind of lazy, basically. Go on, I can see you're gonna say something.
I'm trying to think of like how to like put this in words that'll make sense.
Uh-huh.
I personally think that Odin and Mergo might be the same person.
Mm-hmm.
That Mergo I don't know. That's just a really big speculation. I don't necessarily have a lot of proof for it, but I think they might be the same person, and it's just, you know, like a reincarnation type of thing.
Yeah, it could be.
It could be. You never know with these games. You never know. When it comes to lore, it's just all speculation.
Just let it point out. In the video where I was finding the wet nurse, I was like, oh, it looks like a woman, could be a man or something, and then everyone was like, no, dude, a wet nurse is like another woman that breastfeeds someone else's baby. I was like, oh, can't be a man then. So yes, I don't like children, okay? This is why I don't know what a freaking wet nurse actually is. I just always... Here's the way I envisioned it. Like, you know when someone's, like, really ill and someone, like, puts, like, a damp, like, cloth on their head and, like, wipes their forehead or something? I thought that's what a wet nurse did. I thought that was why they were called a wet nurse, because, like, they have, like, a wet rag and, like, they damp your head or something. Like, there you go. You're gonna be okay there. I genuinely thought that's what it was.
Kind of.
Yeah. Look, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shadow, okay? Okay, so... we spoke about blah blah blah. What is your opinions on the celestial/alien stuff? Because I know you have a lot of opinion on this, yes, which differs from mine.
Honestly, I'm still very determined in thinking that there are no like aliens in this game. That it's just it's all experimentation. I mean, it literally says it in the name, Celestial Emissary. It's just, you know, like a person to communicate with someone who is celestial. So, right after the Celestial Emissary, you go fight Ebrietas, Daughter of the Cosmos.
If you know to go in the window, yes.
Yes, if you know to go in the window. Technically, she's not from, like, the sky. I don't even know if, like, she told them her name, or if they named her this, or if just, you know, their idea of the cosmos is just a vast amount of knowledge, because that's what she did for the church. She just provided them with, you know, knowledge, and with her blood and different things like that. So I think that's just what they just needed to find a way to communicate with her, and they created the Celestial Emissary to kind of be her ambassador, and, you know, be able to make a congregation that could communicate with her and spread her word, kind of thing, because she's from the labyrinth. She's not from space. She's not an alien. She's from the labyrinth.
Yeah. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, the Chalice dungeons, I believe you can fight her down there, or at the very least there's a piece of lore on one of the chalices or something that tells you that's where she was found, and she was brought back up to the surface and then kind of revered as a god, and that's who the church are praying to. For example, when you see, what's her name? Vicar Amelia praying, and she's talking about, like, I can't remember what she said. I want to quote her. I can't remember the word she's saying. And she's clutching, like, her gold pendant, and then she turns into the big freaking bad wolf. She's praying directly to Ebrietas, because I believe Ebrietas is either, like, directly in the wall behind her, or below or above or something. Like, she's looking at her, basically. So, like, the church revere Ebrietas as, like, a god. So, yeah, she came from the Chalice dungeons, is what Kirstie's saying, which is true. But my opinion on that was, hey, maybe a long time ago, the Chalice dungeons, for example, you know, like, things tend to get buried over time. Like, people go dig up, like, things that used to be cities, but they're now below the surface of the earth. Stuff like that. So the way I was thinking of it, maybe the Chalice dungeons originally were kind of at the surface level, and then Ebrietas maybe crashed down a fucking meteorite or something from space. It seems possible to me. Who knows how she got there? Maybe she took a ship. I don't know. And then she crashed down, and then over time, shit's just built up over the top of the Chalice dungeons where she's been residing, and she's been buried under the earth, essentially, over like an incredibly long period of time, and maybe that's why she was down there. That was my assumption. I don't really know, but yeah, Kirstie seems convinced that the aliens aren't actually aliens. You were telling me that you thought the little blue dudes were just experiments?
Yeah, I think they're just people. Especially because if you send people to Yosefka's clinic, they become blue people.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
Oh.
Basically, if you, like, kill them, they have, like, for example, if you send the whore there, and you go to Yosefka's clinic, and you kill, there's, like, there'll be another little blue person, it'll have her shoes.
Ah, okay. That's very interesting.
So,
see, I didn't know that. Because I didn't send anyone to Yosefka, because basically I was like, well, I've got two places. This was my logic, because I didn't know she was evil at the time. But yes, she is. So this was my logic. I was like, I've got two places to send people. One's right back at the beginning of the game where I don't want to go, and one's kind of near where I am, so I just sent people closer to me because I'm lazy. And it turned to work out for the best, basically. So there you go. So, yeah. Kirstie doesn't think they're aliens. I guess you could be right. I mean, it could be like a mistranslation thing, or it could just be Miyazaki or whoever came up with it being kind of funky with their wording, calling things the cosmos when they don't really mean the cosmos. Maybe they do, as you said, just mean knowledge. It's an interesting thought. I don't really know. But yeah, I mean, personally, I think they're aliens. Kirstie doesn't, but I could kind of see it going either way. Really. Okay, but yeah, it's definitely thrown a spanner in the works in my assumption, the fact that you turn people in, well, she turns people into blue people when you send them there. That, yeah, that's very suspicious indeed. Okay, so speaking of the Chalice dungeons, what are your thoughts on them?
They are amazing. Honestly, they could have taken the Chalice dungeons and made that a whole different game, and I would have been insanely satisfied, because I feel like it's everything that the Souls games have ever been about. They're difficult, they're very random, and the bosses are very well made. And I mean, the bosses in the regular game are amazing, but it's just that added little feature that makes it that much better. And the fact that, you have more loot, you can get more things, pretty much every single item in the game, like weapon wise, you can find it again in the Chalice dungeons. I think it's like a better version of the weapon.
Yeah, I remember Reaper saying something about that. Like, it was either the Scythe or the Mercy Blades, or in fact, no, I think it was like I can't remember it was a sword spear, wasn't it? That he found or you found.
Yeah.
What are they called? They have like a different name.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't
the
remember
Saw
either.
Cleaver, I think.
No, I mean like because they have like an additional part on the name, like it's something Saw Cleaver
idea.
or Saw Spear or whatever. But yeah, you find them down there. I could Google it now, but you'd hear the keyboard, and I'm too lazy to edit that shit out. But yeah, basically, according to Kirstie, I've never seen these, but I remember Reaper. Again, Reaper was the dude who was playing in co-op when she was streaming it. He mentioned, I think it was he found, I can't remember who it was, it doesn't matter. But one of them found like a better version of the Saw Spear, basically. So, yeah, you do have a chance of finding like upgraded versions of already existing weapons that are in the game in the Chalice dungeons, which is pretty cool. I didn't see none of them, because, I'm an unlucky son of a bitch. All I got was blood vials and bullets. I didn't even get like freaking ingredients to open up the other ones for the most part. Though, having said that, was kind of rushing at least the first two dungeons, because the first two Chalice dungeons, holy shit, was I overpowered for them. It's something I can't even really blame the game for that. It's like, I should have just done them earlier in the game. That was the intention. So I could say the same thing about Dark Beast Paul. He was real freaking easy when I got there. I felt sorry for him. I whooped the shit out of him. But that's a hard boss. If you fight it as soon as you can, that thing is real freaking dangerous. We were trying to kill it on the level 4. We still haven't been it yet. That thing was kicking our ass.
Very true.
So yeah.
Okay, I looked it up. It's Uncanny and Lost. There's two different types.
Which one's better?
And I don't know, but you can find both.
Oh.
And they're in like different dungeons. But pretty much every single weapon in the game can be found again, and they each have like so there's two more of each weapon. There's an Uncanny and a Lost.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of the Chalice dungeons, you like them, but how far did you get in them? Did you beat the third one? I know that. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Let's get this out of the damn way. Yes, I know there's like 8 different versions of each of the 5 things that you can do. I mean, literally, how many Chalice dungeons did you beat?
I beat a good amount. I got all the way to like, I got pretty far into Loran. I think I did about 3 in Loran. I did all of the Thumeru, and I did a big majority of the Hintertomb. I haven't gotten to like the last 2 though. Or like the sinister ones I haven't done either.
I love the way none of those words meant anything to me. I'm just like, yeah, they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's it. And everyone's like, no, there are more. I know there are more. I was like, I don't want to spend like 20 freaking hours doing this. I was like, I'm going to do 5 of them. And then I did 3 of them. The third one, holy shit. That difficulty spike. That was insane.
Yeah.
Like,
they get worse from there,
I know.
Honestly.
I know. I was taking like literally about a 20th of my HP bar from anything that hit me in the first 2 dungeons. I went to the third one. I was like, la la la. I was like, oh, there's a bunch of spiders. I'll just, murder them. And then boom. Freaking like got 3 shot by them. I just got mobbed in the corner, but it was horrifying. It was absolutely horrifying. I never want to do that again. But yeah, it was very fun. I believe, see, I don't really know how randomized they are. Didn't you say that the layout is always the same? It's only like the enemies and the items that get randomized and the bosses?
I think, no, that I have no idea.
Because someone said to me it's only the root Chalice dungeons that are randomized.
Honestly, I have no idea. Because like for example, you fought the undead giant, and I fought the undead giant in a different, I'm pretty sure it was in a different one. So
You were fighting him
because
quite
I don't
late.
remember. Yeah, I don't remember fighting Rom afterwards. That's why
You
I was
got
like,
lucky.
wait, what?
That Rom fight, holy shit, that was annoying. You can tell they were like, what bosses can we reuse that are going to be really annoying in a tight space? And someone was like, Rom! And then they high-fived each other. You just know there was a freaking high-five that went on between whoever came up with that idea, or someone self-high-fived. You can't self-high-five.
I enjoy it when it's really difficult. I like having to figure it out and to try it over and over again. I mean, when it's insane, like you're getting one shot, which is just like the Defiled dungeons are, then it's like, holy crap, this is really difficult. But I don't know, some people have been complaining about the Chalice dungeons and the rest of the game that it's just way too hard, because a lot of the bosses, if you don't level up correctly, you can pretty much get one shot or two shotted.
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
don't think they're that bad.
I mean, I get the same shit from Demon Souls. Like, some people, I either hear people say, this is the hardest Souls game ever made, or it's the easiest Souls game ever made. I swear to God, the playthrough I did of Demon Souls on my channel, that was my first playthrough. I knew a little bit about it. I'd seen, like, some gameplay, but it wasn't very much whatsoever. So that was probably about 95% blind. That game really didn't give me that much trouble. Don't get me wrong, there were a couple of sections, like the second part of Valley of Defilement, I think, and just before the final boss where he's got, like, those red phantoms guarding him. I'm not gonna spoil, like, anything about Demon Souls, but a bunch of red phantoms. They messed me up, and there was a couple of other parts that I had some trouble with. But generally speaking, I thought Demon Souls was incredibly easy compared to the other Souls games. And I know Kirstie agrees, because she's nodding now, and she's mentioned it before.
Yeah,
But that doesn't mean I don't think it's good.
Yeah, when it comes to Demon Souls, you can have really early on, it determines whether you're gonna have an easy playthrough or a really hard one. And I think we both got lucky on our first playthroughs because it was fairly easy for both of us. But I played it before, just a little bit of it before technically my first complete playthrough, and it was hard. I mean, I rage quit. It was that bad. I was so frustrated. I was so angry. I didn't have any healing items. It was bad. But now I can play through that game no problem.
Yeah, see, yeah, I can fully understand if it's your first Souls game, it's going to be hard. But I really don't get people that are like, yeah, I played that, it was really hard, then I played Dark Souls and it was much easier. Dark Souls still kicks my ass, and I've played that game so many times. Dark Souls 1 for me is the hardest one. But I would probably rank Bloodborne second behind that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Bloodborne, like, I mean, you saw, it really gave me some trouble at points. And
Yeah.
that, considering I think I built my character quite well. Like, I just put a shit ton into Vitality so I didn't die easily, and I had really good weapons, and that was all I really needed. So with a shit ton of health on my side and good offense, I still found it to be the second hardest one that I have played. There are people that make, like, characters with half that HP. With half that HP, I would have been getting one shot a lot more. Like, a lot more. So yeah, I don't know, I really don't understand, because I've heard, like, some popular YouTubers, I'm not going to name drop because, you know, fuck them. But I've heard some popular YouTubers that mention that they think it's the easiest one and stuff like that. I really disagree. It's short. It's probably... I don't know. I still think... I know Demon Souls took me less parts, so just based on that, I'm going to say Demon Souls was shorter. But not by much. There's still a lot more I could do in Demon Souls, put it that way, because I didn't deal with any of the Black World tendency stuff, so... yeah. I don't know, I guess maybe if you include all that, then this probably is a little tiny bit shorter than Demon Souls, but yeah, I don't know. Are you excited for the expansion thingy?
Huh?
Are you excited for the expansion for Bloodborne?
I didn't even know. Well, thanks. Now I know that there's an expansion
I
coming.
told you,
know.
you don't pay any attention to anything I say.
Really? I must have, like, tuned it out,
Oh
like,
my
just
God.
so I could be surprised again later.
I think you even told me after I told you, so that... oh my god.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I have no idea, but yes. I can't even say that I'm excited for an expansion because I technically haven't really finished everything that there is to do.
What do you have left? Besides the challenge dungeons?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I haven't done the Hunters of Hunters, which I hear is very difficult,
Yeah, I
and
didn't do
I'm
that
not
either.
looking forward to it.
Is that the thing that surprised the crap out of me when I went to Gascoigne's area, not Gascoigne?
Yes it is.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
a shock to the system, man. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go with this lamp to, go back to Hunter's Dream to get some blood vials back so I can carry on farming, and then these two fucking hunters ran at me from nowhere and, like, nearly one-shot me in one hit. I was like, what the hell? I was panicking like hell.
You were a level 4.
Yeah,
so...
but still.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It only gets... according to what I've been told, it only gets harder from there. The hunters get a lot more difficult.
So what is it? You just get hunters sent after you or something?
No. Basically,
well, you were after them.
Yes and no. Because,
right.
What's her name?
The crow lady.
Something the crow, lady. Yeah, the crow lady. She is a hunter of hunters, and basically she goes after, like, hunters who've gone rogue, or they're, basically going crazy. So, the dude that you saw was going mad. He was
he was.
Apparently,
he was going ham.
He was friends with Gascoigne, and when he saw that Gascoigne was dead, and according to a lore video I watched the other day, he's also the father of, like, Gascoigne's wife, and, like, the grandfather of the little girls.
So he's like Gascoigne's stepfather? Father-in-law or whatever?
Yes, father-in-law.
I know relation thingies.
And apparently they were, like, friends or whatever. So, yeah, he kind of went crazy. Like, if you go to talk to her right before, you see him, she tells you, like, don't go down there. That's... I can't remember his name right now.
Dave.
He's basically... Good one. He's gone crazy, and he's my next mark. So that basically she tells you, like, not to get in the way, which is, according to what I've been told, that's kind of how it plays out. She's the one who's hunting people. You're just there to help her. I think because she can help you in that fight, even though you let her die.
I didn't know it was her. I thought they were both attacking me. I swear she was.
No.
She didn't even look like her. I thought it was two dudes.
Her.
I know, I thought it was two dudes. Well, I might have hit her, because, when people are running at me to murder me, I usually attack them.
Well, yeah, so that's her mark, and, that's pretty much what it is. She's hunting hunters. And that's your mission, too, technically, to go along and help her out to kill crazy hunter people.
Yeah. Okay. I really want to do another playthrough at some point, because, there's a lot of shit I still need to do. Like, there's a lot of alternate paths in that game, I feel, compared to most of the Souls games. Like, for example, sending people to Yasefka. And then there's different endings to get and stuff like that, and, I still have to finish the Chalice dungeons, and I have to do the Hunter of Hunters thing. And I still want to speak to Jura, the dude on the roof with a machine gun, because I believe if you kill Darkbeast Paul and go in the back way, you can sneak up there and go speak to him, and he gives you lore and stuff like that, so... There's a lot of stuff I still kind of need to do in that game. Okay, anyway. So, what was the hardest boss for you, personally, would you say? Go on.
Why do we have to bring back sad things?
I know.
Now that I have to, like, really think about it, between Rom, Martyr Ligarius, and Ebrietis, I'd have to say, let me think of which one took the longest amount of time. I think Ebrietis took the longest time, but I think I died to Rom more. So I'd have to say Rom, because even now, Rom still kicks my ass.
Oh, I know. I was there for a lot of that.
Yeah, Rom ain't no joke. But Ebrietis and Martyr Ligarius, they're top 3, because they kicked my ass too. Honestly, the 3 of them took 2+ hours to beat. And
it's not that bad. Again, I was watching...
wasn't that weak.
I told you, I was watching some dude... I'm not going to say who it is, so as not to embarrassing, but I was watching some dude live stream the Old Yarn parts. I think he was on the Bloodstaff Beast for at least 3 hours. It was quite pitiful. I think he died about 40 times. And when he signed off the stream, he said something like, well, you know, sometimes you just suck at a video game. And I was like, oh, he sounded so despondent and depressed.
That's pretty bad. I mean, I don't think I think the one that I really wanted to just like give up and just stop playing for a little while was MrAndersonLP, just because she has moves that will completely just one-shot you, and it's almost like it's not fair. And I felt like I had no hope. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I can't beat you. You're so much bigger than me.
I know. See, I didn't have very much trouble with her. I mean, again, I'm not claiming this is because I'm good or something. I had a weapon that was strong against her because I believe the celestial enemies are weak to shock, and I was balling out of control with my, you know, Mace of Doom or the Tonitrus. There you go. I couldn't think of the freaking name. And also, I had a lot of HP. So, the only thing she could one-shot me with, I believe, was the, Call from Beyond, is it called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I believe is the same move that, I can't remember her name, it's like Yuria or something. The mage chick with the whip, cane whip, outside of Rom's area. I believe that's the same move that chick will just one-shot everyone with. Though MrAnderson's one was a little bit different, because hers was like, they all kind of homed in on the same spot instead of all going all over the place, but I think it was basically the same spell, but like a more refined version of it or something. But that made it easier to dodge for me, because as long as you knew she was casting it, and that was kind of half the problem, because she's so tall you can't really see it appearing above her head, so you have to know her animation. But when I figured out the animation for her doing that, you just run, basically. Like, as long as you don't stand still, it doesn't hit you. And that was the only thing she really killed me with, I think. I don't think she killed me with anything else. I think I died to that twice, and then I think I killed her on the third attempt or something like that. I don't know.
She frenzied me, I think, like 2 or 3 times. It was really frustrating.
I think she frenzied me once, because I didn't know she was going to, like, shoot blood at me. But again, after I learned the animation, it was easy enough to dodge. But yeah, I mean, Marta Ligarius as well. I think he only killed me once, but I would say he's probably one of the toughest bosses in the game. I could tell how hard he was whilst I was fighting him, you know what I mean? Like, and the same thing with MrAndersonLP. I mean, she was definitely tough. Was she one of the toughest ones? Yeah, I would say so, but just not for me personally, but I could still understand how she would be tough for other people. Again, if I had less HP, a lot of her flailing tentacle attacks and whatnot would have given me a lot more trouble. I'm trying to think who else gave me... there was one other dude, and I can't remember who the bloody hell it was. It wasn't Shazyanum.
Garmin?
Oh, it was the one reborn. That thing kicked my ass. And to be fair, it was largely because when it was raining like bits of body from the sky, I just stood there. and just let it all fall on my head. And when, like, I died to it a bunch of times, and then I went to go and edit the video, and I still hadn't killed it, and I was sitting there editing the video, I was like, Jason, why the fuck aren't you moving? I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing. But, like, even when I knew to move, that thing's still really dangerous. I mean, we're at that point now on our level 4s, it takes, like, no fucking damage. It takes so long to kill, it's unbelievable. So it's got, like, a giant AoE that will kill you if it even touches you at level 4. Any of those bits of body fall on you, they will kill you. It's got, like, just one-hit attacks all over the place. And then on top of that, it's got so many limbs, it's just, like, perpetually kicking its legs out, like, all of the time. That shit pissed me off. Like, I don't really know how you're supposed to not take damage in that fight. Because those fucking really legs, they just keep hitting you.
That, and, like, if you hit a limb a couple of times, it basically, like, spews out blood from that limb. Yeah. And that hurts you, too.
Yeah, it's real freaking cheap.
It's just not fair.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the worst boss for me. I really would say the one reborn is probably that boss, for me personally. It's my Everest. It's like, everyone's like, oh yeah, I had no trouble with, like, Artorias and Calamy, and yet, to this day, Artorias and Calamy, especially Calamy, good god, kick my ass. Whereas, a lot of people are like, I can't be the Sanctuary Guardian. I'm like, damn, freaking Sanctuary Guardian's easy, man, like, what the hell? Like, I'd say it's one of the easiest bosses in that game, but there you go, it just depends on your build and your playstyle and stuff like that. So yeah, for me, it's the one reborn. For Kirstie, it's MrAndersonLP, I think you said.
No, I said Rom.
Oh yeah, okay, well Rom and Ebrietis in like second. Okay, so hardest area of the game.
Ooh.
I can hear an airplane. Holy shit, that's loud. Get out of here, you!
That's just difficult because of, well, okay, I'll split it into, like, before ROM and after ROM. Because before ROM, I don't know if anybody else knows this, but if you consume too much insight, things change around the game, especially around, what is it, Carnal Lane or whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Isn't it called Charnel Lane? I thought it was Channel Lane, but I remember like reading it once. I was like, oh, it's actually Charnel. Yeah, I think it's Charnel Lane.
Yeah,
Hemwick.
That area. Exactly. The Hemwick area. That area, if you go in there, I think it's 15 plus insight. I think 15 is the part where it starts getting more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
The same little, like, summons that will pop up during the, the witch fight, those will appear all over the place. Like, a lot of them. And it was very unexpected. I remember when I was streaming, I was in shock because I was just walking along and I saw a dog and I'm killing the dog and all of a sudden this like little red AoE just shows up on the ground and this huge like freaky looking thing pops out and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then they started showing up everywhere. I'm like, you can't be serious. And everyone in my chat was like, you know what? We're gonna be nice. Get rid of some insight because you're just making the game harder for yourself. And honestly, once I got rid of the insight, it wasn't too bad, but holy crap, just trying to get past just a couple of them was so hard. And then that's early on. After ROM, I'd have to say Yargle's Unseen Village. Fuck that place. I mean, now it's not that bad, but first playthrough wise, holy shit. I mean, especially if you don't know about like where the bell ringing ladies are, or that you have to kill them in order to make the enemies easier. Holy crap.
Yeah, then when the Nito was in a box, good god. They were just, I've got a lot of HP and they were just one-shotting my ass, man. And it wasn't even just the doll's outfit, though that wasn't helping. I put the good armor on, they still one-shot me. Like,
yeah,
Jesus.
They had that little combo. It's the same. It reminds me of the enemies in Dark Souls 1 in
the bone pillar things.
Yes,
yeah.
In the Tomb of the Giants. It's the same little like freaking arm flingy thing that completely demolishes you. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, Yahago was definitely my least favorite area. Well, not least favorite, but definitely the toughest area for me as well. Like the second part of Yahago. First part, you know, a nice walk in the park compared to the second part. Like, you got all the red dudes popping out of the ground, the bell bitches, and fucking old men in wheelchairs shooting the crap out of you, and freaking, like, laser beam Cthulhu man, and... Oh god, it was awful. And then you go into that room, and you're like, yes, I'm back at the lamp. Oh shit, it's broken, and there's 3 fucking hunters here. And they all aggro on you at the same time, and they just... Oh god, it was terrible. And one of them's got a cannon that it can one-shot you with. Like, what more dick-ass shit do you want to put in the same room?
Definitely the worst hunters, I'd have to say. Once you figure out like the trick to it, it's
you just run the hell away
easier.
until there's only one on you. That's the trick.
That makes it a little bit easier. Fighting them all 3 at the same time obviously is really difficult.
Yeah, I tried that, and then I was like, no, that's not gonna work, because I died like instantly.
And you know what? I know that you didn't notice this because you really weren't looking around. Like, who looks around in that area?
Yeah, I was trying to live.
But yeah, if you look around on the ground, you know how obviously you go to that place twice.
Mm-hmm.
But well, if you know to go there twice, the little sack buddies, or what I call Santa, they are on the ground dead.
Yeah.
They're all over the ground. When I
have booty
noticed
as
it,
well.
I was like, I wonder why that is. Like, what happened that, you know, the area changed and they're all dead.
I think it was supposed to insinuate the blood... Because they do the same thing in Terraria. I know you don't really know anything about Terraria, but there's like an event sometimes called the Blood Moon in Terraria where shit just gets real. Like, zombies can start breaking down your doors, and, like, they spawn, like, way quicker, and just tougher enemies that pop out during the blood moon. So I think it's basically the same thing. Kirstie finds that hilarious for some reason.
Shit just got real.
It does. You're like, oh shit, the blood moon. So yeah, I think that's basically what they're inferring, is like, blood moon pops out, shit gets real. So new enemies just crawl out of the woodwork. I don't know where that's supposed to come from. Like, just out of the ground or some shit, who knows? Because, like, Nito in a box, there was a bunch of them. Like, where did you come from? You're freaking humongous. You weren't just hiding in the corner or something? So I think it's just supposed to say, like, oh, during the blood moon, bigger, tougher enemies pop out. Kind of the same way in Terraria.
Unless it's just the bodies of all the dead people that were there that are just now reanimated.
Maybe. It would have been nice if, on the first run through Yahar'gul before the blood moon, if you could see, like, the Nitos in a box, kind of like, but they didn't look like enemies, you know what I mean? Like, they just looked like a bunch of dead bodies stacked on top of each other in a box. And then the second time through, they've reanimated. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I don't remember seeing anything that would suggest that. But it doesn't mean it's not the case. Anyway, speaking of the dead Santas all over the place, you may remember the church chick who's like, I'm not going to come with you unless you're going to wear, like, some church garbs or something. And I didn't know that, so she fucking died. Apparently, when you go back, there's like a dead sack dude in the corner in the same room as her. And I didn't notice this, but someone says if you look closely, like, you can see her in the sack. Like, her dead body in the sack or something. That's fucked up, man. But yeah, I don't know if that's true. That's what someone said.
I mean, that's pretty much what's supposed to be in their sacks regardless. They're dripping blood.
Oh, I know. They're taking people. I know that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what... I wish that they would, you know, cover more for, like, you know, random enemies like that. Because I want to know, like, what the purpose is. I mean, obviously, it kind of tells you that they're, you know, taking people just because it takes you. So you can only assume that it's doing it to other people, especially because you find her there.
Yeah, there's not really any explanation for why they're taking you to Yahar'gul, as far as I know. I mean, there might be somewhere. I mean, I know there's a lot of bits of paper around in Yahar'gul that give you, like, bits of lore about the Blood Moon and stuff like that, so I imagine there might be a clue in one of those, but I think I missed a bunch and I wasn't paying that much attention because I was trying to live. But yeah, wouldn't surprise me. Okay, so we went over hardest area. What was your favorite boss? Doesn't mean what was the easiest, it means what was your favorite in terms of, like, enjoyable, I guess.
Like boss design?
Yes.
And
the fight, I guess, or design, it's whatever you want to base it on.
I'd have to say Martyr Ligarius. Like, off the top of my head, Martyr Ligarius, just because it changes completely. At first, it's just, you know, he's using magic, or arcane in this game. And when I first encountered him, it was very unexpected. I definitely didn't expect a giant skull to come shooting out of his staff and hit me straight in the face and kill me.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming either.
Yeah. And then once you get to, like, you know, half HP, where he changes and he uses his sword and his staff, and then, you know, puts the sword on the ground and, you know, knife rain from the sky. I liked that. I liked that you could, you know, destroy the sword in the ground to get rid of the knives, which you didn't do. And
I didn't need to. I was just parrying him like a champ.
Yeah, exactly. You were destroying him. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Because I didn't have that option. If I didn't kill that, like, destroy the little sword, I was going to be dead.
I know.
And I didn't figure out that I could parry him until I think I died to him at least 8 times. I was very disappointed in that. I was like, this could have been so much easier.
I usually tried to parry every boss at least once, but some of them that were just huge, like Rom or the Bloodletting Beast, I was like, you know, it's just not gonna work. Though some of them that are huge, you stand? Yeah, you stand. You still can parry. I love the way I combined some words sometimes, like still can became stand. But yeah, like, sometimes you can parry giant bosses, like you can parry the, what's his name, the Cleric Beast, I think? I've never done it, but I'm sure you can.
Actually,
I did it to the giant as well.
I saw it happen when Isaac, my husband, was going through his little playthrough or whatever. he
He's a little
he
playthrough.
parried.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, he parried the cleric beast. I was like, excuse me? How the fuck did you do that? I've tried so many times to parry that damn thing, and he just did it by accident.
Yeah, Isaac makes me angry. Like, he doesn't try, he doesn't give a shit, and then he's like, oh, I'm bored, I'll play fucking Bloodborne or something. He's just like, boom, parries a freaking cleric beast. I'm like, why is this nonsense? You can't even beat Dark Souls 1. I don't get it, I really don't. Dude makes no fucking sense. He pulls out his A game at like the weirdest moments.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, so we went over favorite boss. Did I mention? I haven't mentioned my favorite boss, have I? What was my favorite boss? That's a good question, Jason. I've not actually thought about this. When I wrote down these questions, I probably should have thought of my answers first.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, I don't even know what these questions are. He's just freaking pulling them out of a hat from somewhere.
Why don't you just prepare an answer?
Prepare.
No, I haven't prepared. That's the point I'm making. I just wrote them down. So I would say the Shadows of Yharnam's got to be one of my favorite bosses. I don't know if I would put it at the very top, but it's... And you know, I'm going to shit on Dark Souls 2 a little tiny bit here, just as an example, but I really do like Dark Souls 2. I thought the Ruined Sentinels in Dark Souls 2 was not a bad fight. I really don't think it's a bad fight, but I don't think it was an amazing 3-on-1. I think it could have been done better. Whereas I think the Shadows of Yharnam is a really good example of how to do a 3-on-1 fight. For example, they're all a little bit different. Whereas all three of the Ruined Sentinels are exactly the same. Copy-paste of each other. Nothing different about them whatsoever. All three of the Shadows of Yharnam have different weapons, and one of them's got a candle it can burn you with. One of them throws fireballs like a pyromancer, triple fireballs, and then he can do like freaking AoE fireballs and shit like that. And the third one is just a melee guy. But he goes freaking ham with those swords when he wants to. You can also parry them, which makes it more interesting. You can also not parry the Ruined Sentinels. Well, you can, but you can't riposte them. You can deflect their weapons. That's about all you can do. I see your cat's doing something. Anyway, so yeah, and when you get them down to a certain stage, they change into a different phase, which the Ruined Sentinels again don't do. There's no variation in that fight. It's just... Unless... Because sometimes they throw their shields. They seem to only do that sort of towards the end, but I think it's just chance. I think they can do that at any time. Though I could be wrong. And so they change phase when you get them lower on HP, but also, depending on which ones you kill first, really changes up how the fight goes, because all three of them get sort of new abilities and moves and shit in the second phase, you have to kind of pick, depending on your playstyle, who is the best one for you to kill off first, because the first one you kill is always going to be the easiest. So you have to try and pick, do I want to go and take out the easy one? It's a little bit like Ornstein and Smo. You're like, well, do I want to kill Smo first, because he's probably going to be easier? Or do I want to leave Smo until second, because he's going to be powered up, but he's going to be a powered up version of the easier of the two, if that makes sense. Kirstie looks really confused.
No, yeah, honestly, I'm thinking of it as, like, which one is the easier one? Because
the fireball guy, because the fireball guy hangs back, whereas the other two will run at you. So you can often just sort of lure them off to a corner because they're chasing you, and then run over, do some damage to fireball guy. Like, he's really easy to kill. But equally, he's probably the least dangerous in the second phase. So I think they balance that very well. So if you, again, kind of like Ornstein and Smo, you're like, well, do I want to leave him to the second phase because he's not that dangerous? Or do I want to deal with two dudes that are going to be flailing their katanas at me? Which is, like, real freaking hard, especially when you're on your own. Plus, when you get down to, is it one of them? They can start, it might be two. Some people have said it's two. I think, I've only seen it when there's one guy. I think. But yeah, basically, she's shaking her head. Basically, at some points, they can summon giant fucking snakes, which are terrifying and also can one-shot you from the other side of the boss room. I was literally in one corner, the snake popped out the exact opposite corner. I was like, I'm not even going to move, I'm going to be safe here. Boom! Just lunged straight at me in one shot. It scared the fuck out of me. I really wasn't expecting it to hit me from there. But yeah, they do the whole snake phase, and you can stagger them out of it, so like, you have to be a bit tactical. You're like, am I close enough? He's starting to summon a snake. Can I shoot him with my gun from here to stop him? There's a lot of different tactics and things going on in that fight, so... I think I would say the Shadows of Yharnam probably my favorite fight because of those reasons. As a single fight, I'd say probably Martyr Logarius. And I think there was one other, and I can't bloody... Oh yeah, Gascoigne. I thought Gascoigne was also really cool. Like, I like the fact that he's got 3 different phases. You know, he switches to his his two-handed, you know, big-ass axe thing. You can parry him, he can parry you. He's very quick. He goes crazy in the 3rd phase. Also, you have the whole music box thing you can do. But equally, if you abuse the music box, it speeds up his transformation. And it gets to a point where he just doesn't even get affected by it anymore. So yeah, so there's a lot of cool shit going on with that fight as well. So that's why I would say are my favorite bosses. So what was your favorite area of the game? For whatever reason.
My favorite area of the game? Like, lore-wise, or...
Whatever you want, for whatever reason, what was your favorite area? She's going to say Canehurst.
Okay. Looks-wise, I love Canehurst. I love the idea of Canehurst. I love that, you know, there's ghosts everywhere because everyone was killed there, and there's only one survivor. I love that idea. It's such a gorgeous place.
Kind of like New Londo Ruins, but minus not looking good.
Yeah.
I'm in the ghosts.
It reminds me more, yes. It reminds me of New Londo Ruins with the painted world.
Yeah.
Because it's something that was forgotten. No one really, like, thinks about it. You know, there's only one person looking for it. So, I guess I'll just stick with that one, just because I can't really think of, like, another area that really, like, sticks to me.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'd say my favorite was between Canehurst and the original. Let's get that straight. The original Yahar'gul. Second version of that place can just go fuck itself. The original Yahar'gul with the music and, you know, it's very ominous, and there's all the statues with, like, rags over their heads, and there's all the sort of either dead or... I think they're dead bodies, basically, like, pressed up against the wall that look like they're trying to get into the church, or they're pressed up against different walls for different reasons and stuff like that. Though, I think you can only get to the dudes pressed up against the walls when you get past that door that's unlocked in the second part, when you're running past the giant Nitos in a box. But yeah, like, I feel like there's a lot of lore in Yahar'gul that I just don't understand. I mentioned that at the time of the playthrough. Go on.
I'm gonna change, well, I'm not gonna change it, but I'm gonna stick with Old Yarnum, just because it is pretty much everything that this game, like, embodies. Like, the main story of, you know, everybody's turning into beasts, and how it was, you know, quarantined off, they burned the entire place down, and this is what's left of it. That, to me, I mean, when I first saw the door with the notice on it, I didn't want to go in. I was literally, like, thinking, I'm like, what is back there? What is behind this? You know, should I even continue, or should I just go find a different area? But that area is very good, especially with, you know, Jura there and everything. It's a really good area. Like, it's very difficult with all the poison and all the werewolves everywhere. Yeah, and, you know, Jura shooting at you because, you know, fuck him.
Yeah, I'd say I do really like Old Yarnum from, like, a lore perspective and design and whatnot. I just think if Jura wasn't there shooting at me with a machine gun the entire time, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. You know? Like, I really would.
I mean, it adds to the lore with him shooting at you. I mean,
but
you know.
I don't know. I felt like I was playing Call of Duty or something. I was like, come on, man. Like, just you have a machine gun. Come on, just leave me alone.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, from, like, a lore perspective and the design and everything else, and the fact that it was quarantined off and burned down, is very cool. And I do like the Bloodstaff Beast. I know some people that fucking hate that thing. They're like, oh, it just flails around, it's poisonous, and I hate it, it's terrible. Shut up. You just suck at Souls games and shit. There's one YouTuber in specific I'm speaking to. It's annoying because I watch him and I like his videos, but he doesn't stop fucking complaining about everything. I'm not going to name drop the guy, but yeah, like, just shut up. Stop complaining about everything, you son of a bitch. And I can say that because I haven't said his name. Okay, so also I would say Canehurst is up there as one of my favorite areas, though I was a little bit let down by Canehurst just because it's very short. Whereas I was kind of led to believe it was going to be huge. Whereas it just, like, in terms of size, it was quite big, but it felt very quick to get through. There was a lot of big open space that didn't have many enemies, so I wasn't slowed down a lot. The boss was right at the end, so yeah, I don't know. I really liked it, I just would have liked more of it, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Anything else to say?
I was gonna say that I like how neither of us mentioned the nightmare.
Oh, yeah!
Does it mean that we really hate that area?
Yeah, it's the hardest area. Yeah, I think it's because I've just... like when something really traumatic happens to someone and they don't remember it anymore because they put it out of their mind. I think that's what it is. I think I've just tried to forget about not the Nightmare of Mensis, though fuck that boss. Just, I'm gonna run around and talk about Roman eyes and shit. Shut up. Cagehead, I can't remember his name. What was his name? Began with M?
Mikolash.
Yeah, Mikolash. People keep calling him Mikolash Cage. Because, like, Nicolas Cage. Because there was that one film where Nicolas Cage had, like, his head in, like, a thing full of bees or something. So, yeah. I don't know what film it was. I haven't seen it. I don't like Nicolas Cage. Okay, so, So, the first Nightmare, the Nightmare Frontier, holy shit. Fuck that place so hard because of the jellyfish. Rest of it was kind of annoying, because, there was, like, dudes throwing rocks at you, knocking your head off, and poison you have to wade through, but the jellyfish, man. Holy shit, who thought that was a good idea? See,
I like them.
I know you do, and you're weird and sadistic.
I don't think that they're that bad. I mean, I know you have, like you said, your little traumatic little situation with them, but they weren't too bad. They killed me a bunch of times, but they're...
See, the thing is as well.
Get around it.
The thing is as well. I remember you telling me, oh, like I used poison knives on them, and they got poisoned in one knife. I threw like 4 at this bastard, and he did not get poisoned. And you were like, oh, well, I used cannons and stuff. I used a cannon, it did like 100 damage. Yes, it didn't upgrade it, but still, it was a cannon, and I used bone marrow ash, which really powers up your bullets.
After they nerfed it.
Yeah, I know. Fucking typical. So basically, I think we both really hate the Nightmare Frontier, and to a degree the Nightmare of Mensis, but nowhere near as much. But she likes the jellyfish, because she's weird. Okay,
now, when we say about the areas, we don't necessarily mean the bosses. The bosses are easy as fuck in both of those areas. We're talking about, like, the layout,
I thought both the bosses were annoying, but I didn't think they were hard. Like,
Amangala was easy.
Well, I don't know how to describe it. It was kind of like I was running around like a headless chicken trying to hit the arms like, just give me your arms, Jesus. And then Mikolash was again me just running around like, just stand still so I can murder you, you cage head wearing son of a bitch.
And the same thing goes for Mergo. That's literally what I spent the boss doing, just running around.
I think I just glitched out or some shit, but I'll take it. Okay, so last couple of last couple of questions. Don't laugh at me. How would you rank it? It's, to be fair, we've gone for over an hour, and that was the first time I really fucked up. I'm quite proud of myself. How would you rank it compared to Demon's Souls, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2? Like, basically, would you say it's your favorite, least favorite, or would you put it somewhere in between?
Oh, there's no replacing Dark Souls for being my favorite. That has its own special spot.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd have to say second. I don't want to bring up Dark Souls 2. Demon's Souls is a really good game. It is.
I just wish it was harder.
It's a good game. Yeah, I think I agree. I wish it was a little bit harder.
Especially the bosses in particular. I thought the bosses often felt much easier than just getting to them. Like, especially in the second part of the Valley of Defilement, the boss is like that big black dude who shoots like sludge at you or something, and he was so fucking easy, and I had so much trouble getting to him. Yeah. Okay, I would say I agree. Dark Souls 1, then Bloodborne, then Demon's Souls, then Dark Souls 2. Again, I like Dark Souls 2, but it's definitely the weakest one for me. Okay, last question. Are you looking forward to Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne 2 more, assuming they're going to make both of them? Which one would you be looking forward to more?
Depends on what they plan on doing with Dark Souls 3, because if they come out with another Dark Souls 2 look-alike, if it's anywhere near somewhat the same, I am going to be so angry, because I feel like they just took everyone's like love for Dark Souls 1 and they just made a game, called it Dark Souls 2, and shoved it up everybody's ass and said, you know what, take this until Bloodborne comes out. And, you know, Bloodborne was 100 times better.
Yes. I agree,
So,
even though I
yeah,
do like that game.
It's, don't get me wrong, it's a good game, the storyline's really good, but there's so many different things that I could just knock on it.
Yeah,
I
know.
I
Again,
can't even go into it.
I know, we'd be here forever. I've mentioned it before, I think the level design was extremely lacking for the most part, as well as the enemy design, and I think there are two huge factors that make a game interesting. Enemies and level. Like, where you are and what you're fighting. Especially in a combat-focused game. So, yeah, I think if they put more work into those things, it would have been great. But, hey, you know, maybe they were rushing it, maybe it really was the B-team situation. Who knows? Who knows? I thought it was a fun game, but I thought it did not live up to the Dark Souls 1 name. So yes, it seems like both of us would say Dark Souls 1, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, and... Did you even answer the question? I can't remember. Which one are you looking forward to more?
I'm gonna have to say Dark Souls 3.
Mm-hmm.
But...
I'd say I am as well, just because I've seen screenshots and stuff that I don't think could possibly be fake, and they've reminded me more of Dark Souls 1.
Yeah. You have no idea. I really hope that they stick to the original and they don't fuck it up. And they just, you know, Dark Souls 1 was just such a good game.
Mm-hmm.
You can't mess with that. You can't, you know, put a name on it and then expect it to be the same.
I agree. I would... Here's another thing. I would really love an actual sequel to Dark Souls 1 in terms of, like, the story. Whereas Dark Souls 2 was set so far in the future that the story was almost inconsequential. Like, all the lands and everything, like Astora and Vinheim and stuff like that, they're gone now. It's like, why make all the lore behind, like, Astora and Vinheim and everything else and not show us it? It's like, Elder Scrolls do it differently. They're like, okay, so here's our world, and here's all of these districts, like the Black Marsh, Hammerfell, Skyrim, Cyrodiil, etc. And then in each game, they show you a new part of the world that you know exists and you've heard about, and then you get to explore it. I would have loved to have done that in Dark Souls 2, and I hope that they do that in Dark Souls 3. Like, set it in Astora, set it in Vinheim. Like, don't set it, yes, a little bit after Dark Souls 1, but not so far in the future that those places don't exist anymore. I want to explore what already existed. You know?
Yeah, like right after we, you know, beat the game kind of thing. Well, maybe not necessarily right after, but not so in the future.
You know, like multiple
to,
cycles ahead. I would have liked to have been like there at the end of the current cycle, or well, I guess that was the end of the current cycle, but like at the beginning of the next cycle or at the end of the next cycle, like just far enough ahead that there's more story to tell, but not far enough ahead that there's no story left, if that makes sense. Okay, so I think that about wraps it up as far as Bloodborne. We could probably sit here for like another hour or more discussing different things. Is there anything else you want to ask, Kirstie? Ask me, or just talk about?
Now you're putting me on the spot.
Well, you know, I've asked all the questions. It's your turn. If there's something you thought I didn't cover that you want to discuss.
What do you think about, I mean, I know that this is very different from Dark Souls, you know, sword and shield and magic and stuff. What do you feel like the weapons are better? Or do you think that, like, for example, you miss the magic? I, for one, miss the magic a lot. I miss pyromancy more than anything. I feel like they could have still added pyromancy in, and it still would have been really good.
Yeah. I would say I think the melee combat is better, for my personal taste. And it really shouldn't surprise people that I'm saying that, because I don't use shields. Anytime I'm using the shields, it's either because it looks nice, and I'm not actually going to use it, or it's like a grass crest shield that restores my stamina or something. I don't fucking block, because I just... Even though it's usually more beneficial to do that, I just prefer rolling because it takes more skill. I don't think many people would argue with that. And I like knowing that I beat something because I actually had good timing and good reflexes, as opposed to I held L1 and I had enough stamina and a strong enough shield to withstand their attacks. Plus, the very first time I ever saw Dark Souls, besides, I think it was Total Biscuit's video of, like a preview of Dark Souls 1. That was the first time. But the first time I saw someone play it, I watched it a little tiny bit, and I know who the YouTuber was, and I like him, and I'm not going to drop his name, but I hate his playstyle. He's the sort of guy that will lock onto an enemy, hold L1 to hold his shield up, and circle around for the backstab. And that's the way he kills fucking everything. And I was like, that's so damn boring. So it's probably him mostly that put me off playing like that. I love the way I've mentioned a bunch of YouTubers, but not by name. There's going to be people in the comments that are going to try and guess like who they are and shit. You're probably not going to guess. Though most of them are fairly well known. But we'll leave it at that. And... okay, so yeah. What was the question? I can't remember anymore. I was going on about like swords and shields and shit.
No,
Do I think the weapons are better? Yes, I think the melee weapons are better. Because I like the whole transformation thing. It's like having two weapons at once. And I like the fact that you can combo them together. And it's just very cool as well. Like... I think it was Epic Name Bro mentioned it, like, when you, like, either spark the Tonitrus or when you unhook the saw blade, it's like, ching, shit's gonna go down. Like, you know something's about to happen. It's very cool in that aspect.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, I thought the weapons were better, I thought the melee combat was better. I can't really comment on Arcane, because from what I've seen of Arcane, there seems like a few, like, enough spells to have a decent variation, though not a huge amount. Though I think most of the ones there are cool enough. So Arcane seems fine to me as far as like a magic substitute, but yeah, it would have been nice had they had like pyromancy and stuff like that, but besides pyromancy, I think for the most part it was fairly complete. But yeah, more weapons would be nice. That's my only criticism, really. I love the weapons, I just wish there were more of them. But there were still quite a few. I mean, I remember when there was previews of it before it came out, it was like, you know, fucking... quote-unquote games journalists going, oh, there's only like 4 weapons in Bloodborne, there's no shields. Shut up. There's a lot more than 4 weapons, you moron.
Oh, what did you think of the whole Vowbloods and Executioners?
I didn't know much of what to make about it. I mean, okay. So... basically, I met the Queen, and then I got the unopened summons, and then I think it was you, or Reaper, I think it was you, told me to take the unopened summons to Alfred, in other words, Solaire, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go to Canehurst, and then he goes there, and he goes fucking batshit insane, and he's wearing like a freaking KKK pyramid head thing, and he's like screaming and shouting, and he's turned the Queen into a pink blob. I was like, damn, Alfred, I was not expecting that. So, and everyone was like, why'd you kill Alfred? Because he went nuts, man! So I murdered him. And it turns out he's an executioner, and the Queen is like the leader of the Vilebloods. So they're enemies. That I got that part. But besides them being enemies, I don't know. What did you make of them?
Honestly, I thought it was the most aside from, I guess, like, you know, the whole main story and stuff, that story... line in itself was very interesting to me, just because it's you know, it's its own little, like, I can't say it's a war, but it's a little war going on with all of the craziness, and it has pretty much nothing to do with it. Like, how can you know all this stuff is going on and still, like, ignore it and continue to fight against each other? Because the people from Canehurst, they believed that they were basically better than everybody else, and because their blood was different, I guess, I don't know like what the specific lore is, but according to her, their blood is tainted. I don't know how, I don't know why, but their blood is tainted somehow, and the executioners, their job is to get rid of people like that. And that's what Martyr Ligarius was, basically what he brought a huge team of executioners to do. They killed everyone in Canehurst, and he took the crown, I think he took the crown from the king, and he wore it, that way he could keep the illusion from everyone, so that no one knew that she was there. And it was going to be her eternal punishment to just live by herself, because she's an eternal being, she can't die. Even when you pick up her, you know, her flesh, she's still there. She's still alive. She can't die. So it's just her.
Did you know you could take her flesh to Eberietis' boss room and revive her, apparently?
Yes, I told you that.
Oh. Well, a bunch of people in the comments told me as well. And I forgot to do it, so it's probably going to be a bunch of people that are like, dislike, I'm angry you didn't do that. Well, I'm sorry.
Yes, that that has a lot to do with the lore too, because Ebrietis, wanted to give knowledge to somebody and tried to test it out a little bit, and that person, if you look at it, it looks just like Rom. It has the same form, it has the same like head thing or whatever with all the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It looks just like Rom, but it's not. It's dead. But because it had a bunch of knowledge on it, it just didn't survive. It basically alters time, so you can bring people back from the dead.
Interesting. So could I have revived Alfred there as well?
Was there remains?
No, I just got the execute. No, I got a blood drake as well as the executioner's, or whatever they were called, symbol, covenant
I don't know,
thing.
because I know that with her you get the pinky flesh or whatever it's called. So you take that back. I don't know if like you kill any of the other NPCs, you can just go there and bring them back too.
Maybe. I think that's what I was told, but yeah. I remember I got the shoes from the horse, so I assume you can maybe do it with that, but I don't know if the blood drag would work, because it's like a generic item.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Alrighty, that is it. Thanks for watching. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, click the like button. You know the drill, it promotes it and whatnot. And since it's a podcast, probably get a new promotion. I suspect there's a lot of podcasts. Stone Cold Steve Austin makes podcasts. And he even runs advertisements on his podcast, even though he's a multi-millionaire freaking pro wrestler. God, that shit pisses me off. I don't run ads, besides, at the beginning of the video. But at least I'm not subjecting you to me, like, reading shit out from a bit of paper like he does. I still like you, Stone Cold, but drop the ads, man. You got enough money, like, holy shit. Anyway, thanks for watching. Say goodbye, Kirstie.
Bye!
Hey, just a quick post-commentary note. We completely forgot to mention during all of this that Kirstie is a streamer. You can find her at twitch.tv/Kirstie_Ellison. She also has a YouTube channel. youtube.com/Kirstie Ellison? Maybe without the underscore? I don't know. Either way, they'll be on screen and linked in the video descriptions. Go check her out. As you can tell, she's very entertaining and very knowledgeable. Anyway, thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time.